Class is now in session. I am Professor Hockey, and today will be another Sharks weekly recap, this time of week 22. The Sharks only had 2 games on the docket for this week because of the fact that they played on Sunday at the end of last week and then had 3 days off before their game on Thursday versus the Montreal Canadiens. And so they only hosted 2 teams and they could only earn a possible 4 out of 4 points. And that's really exactly what they did. They started off against the Montreal Canadiens, facing off against their former starting goaltender Antti Niemi, Martin Jones in net for the San Jose Sharks. And the first period wasn't great for either goaltender. The Sharks managed to come out of that first period with a 2-1 edge, but after that, Martin Jones locked it down, and while the Sharks may not have been the better team in this game, they did find a way to get the 2 points, which is all that matters at this time of the year. And so they moved on to Saturday to face off against the St. Louis Blues, a much tougher team, no offense to the Montreal Canadiens, but the St. Louis Blues have been one of the hottest teams in the NHL for the past couple of months, and this was a very hard-fought game. The San Jose Sharks and the St. Louis Blues going toe-to-toe in what really felt like a playoff game, both goaltenders playing some very good hockey, but it would be the San Jose Sharks, and more specifically Kevin Labanc, coming out on top in the overtime, giving the Sharks the 2 points, leaving the Blues with only a single one. On to the offensive contributors of the week. Leading the way was Timo Meier, as he got 3 goals this week, 26 goals now on the season, which is of course a career high, as he moves closer to 30 goals, which would of course also be the first time hitting 30 goals in his career, as well as 3 points, putting his point total up to 57 as he moves closer to the 60-point plateau. Next is Tomas Hertl, 1 goal, 2 assists, as he got to the 30-goal mark for the first time in his career, and as well as the 60-point mark for the first time in his career, 61 points now on the year. Kevin Labanc with a goal and 2 assists, as he put his point total up to 46 as he moves closer to 50 points, which would of course still be his first 50-point season as a player in the NHL. Marcus Sorensen, a goal and an assist for him, 2 points, putting his point total up to 25. Joe Thornton, a goal and 1 assist, putting his point total up to a flat 40, as well as Logan Couture with 2 assists as he puts his point total up to 61, also hitting the 60-point plateau, although this is not the first time in his career he has done that. His career high in points is 67. It's definitely possible Couture can pass that this season and set a new career high. For the news of the week, the San Jose Sharks, at least at some point, as they currently do not hold this position anymore, but at least at some point they held first place in the Pacific and first place in the Western Conference after they won against the Blues on Saturday. The Sharks had the same amount of games played as the Flames, as well as 1 more point. Now the Flames, because they played yesterday on Sunday, they now have 1 more point than the Sharks, although the Sharks do have the game in hand, but still, don't quote me on this, but I'm not 100% sure if the Sharks have ever really been first place in the Pacific Division this season, and especially not the Western Conference. I feel like, with how the season started, especially since the Sharks lost their first game of the season, so they never even got to be by default first place, I guess. They were struggling at the start, and it took them until about December to actually be able to recover, and this fact of them getting up to 90 points, for the first team to get up to 90 points in the Western Conference, they were sitting at the top of the Pacific Division, at the top of the Western Conference. It definitely shows that a lot of hard work went into turning around this season, and you have to commend every single member of the Sharks, not just the players, but also the coaching staff, because we know that they also made some swaps around that time, moving certain assistant coaches to other specific roles, moving, I think, Zettler up to the box, and all of these other moves, and so it was a full team effort. Even the GM, with the team meeting that they had at the end of that Ottawa Senators game at the start of December, played a big part in this, and so it's definitely kudos all around to each San Jose Sharks organization member even. Next is Evander Kane. He has not played in the past few games, and he has also been announced to not be on this next road trip to Minnesota and Winnipeg. He will not play in either games, but not due to injury like it was earlier on, but now due to personal reasons. And I won't try and speculate what exactly those personal reasons are, but what I will say is that I guess it's good news that he is considered to be healthy, and he's just not playing for those personal reasons, and we can only hope that when he does actually return to the ice, those personal reasons won't really interfere and be in his mind so that it sort of hurts him mentally, I guess, in the mental game while he's playing on the ice. So hopefully he does get whatever is doing with him sorted out. Next is Erik Carlsson, of course, as usual, mentioning him, still injured, but we did get some news about him. He has gone on the record of saying that he guarantees that he will be back for the playoffs, and he hopes that he can get a few games prior to the playoffs starting. And I saw some people who felt like this was good news. I don't think this was really that great news for the Sharks. What this tells me is the fact that he is going to be out for the next couple of weeks at the very least, and only, in late March or potentially even early April will the Sharks look at Erik Carlsson and say, are you actually good enough to try and get back up to game speed for these last 3 games? And so him being hopeful that he plays actually leaves open the possibility that he's not going to be healthy enough for those last 3 games, and he could potentially just sit out completely until the playoffs. And the fact that he guarantees being able to play in the playoffs doesn't mean that he guarantees 100%, this statue of health come playoff time, but he just guarantees that he will basically throw himself on the ice like he did in that game against Boston. And he wasn't very good in that one, and we hope that he's not going to actually do something like that, because it's possible that he re-aggravates an injury of some sort. But I guess if the Sharks do end up sitting him out, maybe he's given some time to heal and it won't be that bad. But I don't think him saying that he guarantees the playoffs and that he's hopefully plays a couple games before it is necessarily good news. I think it's just basically news. Class dismissed.